you know you make me float. Boy, you really give me high. Ooh, I feel like I'm on dope. 'Cause you serve me on a...
Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jock Marie, aka Pretty Brown Marie. If you are new to my channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. You will love it over here. Join the pretty gang. Tap that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, turn on all post notifications so that you do not miss out on any future videos your girl been uploading on a regular lately. And if you are a returning subscriber, then gang. So in today's video, you already know what I'm about to do. I'm about to do a story time. Okay, so I think I've only done like 2 story times on my channel. One about when I joined the military, how that whole experience went, because they had me effed up. And I did another story time on the time I got fired from working in the nail salon, but it was like a little mini story time. So this story time is going to be about the time that he cheated on me with my friend. Okay, so this story time is going to take place back in 2008, 2009. That's around the time that I joined the military. So I joined the military. Everything was copacetic. My job in the military was supply. I was stationed in the Navy. So I was in supply, worked in a barbershop, and it was a lot of us in there, okay? It was one dude in there who was not us, and his name, we're going to give him a name. His name was CJ, okay? So all the dudes that was in there that worked with me, not all of them was trying to talk to me, just like a few of them, right? And they would always clown CJ every time he tried to talk to me because they was like, oh, you trying to get you a black one, you trying to get you a black one, stuff like that. So he was like, he was determined at this point to get me to talk to him because everybody was like saying that he couldn't do it basically. So now one thing that we all know is if they white, any other race, Filipino, any of that stuff, they gonna do for their girl. They gonna spoil them. They gonna do all of that. At least that's what I've experienced. So this person was white and Filipino. They were mixed. They said they was part Puerto Rican too, but I think that was a lie. But we're going to just say they was white, Filipino, and Puerto Rican. So he was doing everything you could think of, taking me out. We was going out, like he was buying me stuff, bought me a bag, bought me like little shoes and stuff. Like he was really trying to prove himself because, I don't know, I guess he felt some type of way. He was trying to prove that he could get this chocolate, okay? So he was doing all of that, and eventually I was like, okay, I'm gonna start. We ended up start dating. You know how that go. One minute you just going out and stuff and accepting free gifts, and the next minute y'all dating. So we ended up dating. This had to be like 6 months into me being in the military. So everything was good. Now CJ had a friend. His friend, we gonna name him Simp because he was simping. Okay, and Simp had a girl. Her name was, we gonna name her Simone. Okay, so Simp had a girl. His girl name was Simone, and then it was me and CJ. So we basically started like double dating. Me and CJ would go out on dates, and that was like his best friend. They were the same race. They were white and Filipino, so they just, they related to each other. And then mind you, I was black and Simp's girl was black. So how coinky dink. So yeah, we ended up, we would go out on like double dates because the rule in the military is you had to have a Liberty Buddy. And a Liberty Buddy is basically somebody that you sign out to go out with, and you have to come back with them. And they basically supposed to look out for you so that nothing happens to you, because really you're just property at this point, and they don't want nothing happening to their property. So property, look out for property. So CJ was looking out for me. I was in turn supposed to look out for him, make sure we make it back to the ship. If I got too drunk, he had to still make sure that I got back to the ship, and vice versa. Same with Simp and same with everybody on the ship, but the same with Simp and his girl. So we were going out, having fun. We would go out to the bar. We would do all of this, laugh, hee hee, ha ha, Then we started getting hotel rooms. Individually, we started getting hotel rooms by ourselves at first because we were granted liberty, meaning we were able to stay out overnight. Like if you didn't have a lot of strikes or whatever like that and you wasn't really getting in trouble, then they would give you liberty, meaning that you could stay overnight, like on the weekend. But I was stationed in Japan, so we couldn't get apartments and stuff like that. You had to be like a certain rank to be able to rent a place or get a house and stuff like that. So everybody was getting hotels if they had liberty. So, because nobody really wanted to come back to the ship. The beds is small and it's really like a jail cell. I'll insert a picture of what what living quarters look like on a ship, but who trying to come back to that? Nobody. So everybody would get a hotel room. It was just normal. So me and CJ started getting our little hotel room, and then they would get their hotel rooms, but it really wasn't no big deal. It was just like, just so we could have a place to stay overnight, you know? So eventually they would start coming to our hotel room and vice versa. Like, we started inviting each other to each other's hotel rooms. So that was no biggie either. You know, I was cool. I was down with that. Now, when I say he slept with my friend, she's not really my friend. As you can see, she's an acquaintance basically, because Simp and CJ are best friends. That makes me and Simone acquaintances. So that's why I say she's my friend. But basically, she is like my friend because we talked about stuff and stuff like that, but we wasn't like tight, like best friends or nothing like that, okay? So let's fast forward maybe about a year and a half, okay? So your girl gets pregnant. So I got pregnant and I ended up getting off the ship because of something that happened in the military, and I'm probably gonna do a story time on that. But yeah, something happened in the military, and on top of that, I was pregnant, so I ended up having to, you know, exit. So before you can exit, especially since you're out of the country, you're in Japan, you have to wait for a while. So I waited for like 3 or 4 months before I was able to even be flown back to the States. So in the meantime, CJ, Simone, and Simp were still going out. They were all the way over here. Now the ship is all the way over here. Mind you, I'm still on land. I'm in the vicinity. Like, he could have came and visited me if he wanted to, but it was very far, and rides and taxis and stuff were very high. So I ain't really have no problem with him not really coming to visit me, but I did tell him to make sure that I at least talk to him. You know, I wanted to make sure that we at least communicated and stuff like that. So we would talk about me going to get baby clothes, or I would tell him what I'm doing for the day. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to pick out these clothes, this, that, and the third, and stuff like that. Everything was cool. I talked to him every day. No missed days, sometimes 2, 3, 4 times a day. Another thing that you have to keep in mind is when you are on the ship and you get deployed, there are no phones. So everybody can get a cell phone while you're on land and you're off the ship and stuff like that. But when you're on the ship, you have to use the phones that are on the ship, and you have to dial out and all of this, that, and the third, and it's just hell. So a lot of people don't use those phones. Another way of communication was to email. Like, if you wanted to talk to your family back home, you could email them, because phones, people wasn't accepting them long distance phone calls because it would make their bill go high. So mind you, I wasn't back to the States yet, so I was still here. So we were using our cell phones whenever he was, you know, because he was still in Japan. So like I said, we was talking every day. And then it comes time for me to leave. But before I leave, I see Simp. You know, it was like a little food court over there by where I was at. It was the AFES. AFES is basically like a little Walmart, like a little, they got clothes and stuff. It's basically like a little military Walmart. So there was the AFES. It was like a big plaza mall, and it had like little baby clothes center, stuff like that. And it also had a food court. So a lot of people went to that food court. It had the Popeyes, it had the McDonald's, and it had, I forgot what the other restaurant was, but it had the 3 main restaurants that, you know, we like to eat. So I will always go to Popeyes, always. So one day I'm going to Popeyes because at this point I'm about probably six months. So your girl getting real hungry every day. So I'm eating 2, 3, 4 times a day. So I'm going to Popeyes one day and I see Simp up there. And most people don't come to that side where I was at. You know, I was in a room with all other pregnant women. So it was 3 of us in one room. When you get pregnant and they say you can leave or whatever, they put you in a room with other pregnant women, and then y'all just wait to PCS out or to leave out. So I was in a room with 3 other women, and a lot of times I was really trying to get out of there. So I would go to either Popeyes and sit there sometimes and get on my computer, or just walk around AFES. Like, I was not trying to be in that room with them girls. Back to that, I went to Popeyes. I saw Simp there. We ended up, you know, I was like, hey, how you doing? Because I hadn't seen them in a while, because like I said, they're all the way over there. Like, the ship is far away from this side. Most people that's on this side are getting PCS out. So I'm like, what you doing on this side? So he ends up telling me that he is PCSing out. So he's not like getting out of the military. It's not really called PCSing. I don't know. But he wasn't really getting out of the military. He was just changing duty stations, because he had been in Japan for so long, and I guess he put in orders to go somewhere else. So that's where they were sending him. His time was up. He did his time. I think he did like his 4 years, and he was able to go where he put his orders into. So I was like, okay, congratulations, stuff like that. So time goes on, and Simp ends up leaving before I end up leaving. So I had saw him again one day. I think we had switched numbers or whatever, and we didn't really talk or nothing like that, but I was just like, here go my number and stuff like that. Since you on this side now, if I'm bored, then we can go eat at Popeyes, whatever. But we never ended up calling each other or nothing like that. We just ended up swapping numbers. So time came for him to leave, and I had ended up seeing him at Popeyes again. So this is how I found out he was leaving, because when I saw him, I was like catching up again, because like I said, even though we swapped numbers, we hadn't really been chilling or nothing like that. He ends up telling me that it's his day to leave today. So I'm like, okay, I only got like a month left. So he's out, he gone. So Simp is gone, and his girl Simone is still back over there in the ship with CJ. So now it comes to my turn to leave. A month done passed. It's time for me to leave. I get back to the States, and I immediately, after flying all that way, because I think it was like a 14-hour flight straight. So after flying all that way, I wanted to talk to CJ. So I get on the phone, and I try to call the number to the ship, but that's when I found out you can't call, like, if you're in the States, you can't call out to that ship. And I tried to call his little cell phone number, but it was asking for money. You had to pay and stuff like that. So I basically had to wait for him to call me or email me. So I checked my emails, and I had saw that I had 2 missed emails. So he had emailed me while I was on my way back. Over that course of the 14 hours that I was flying, I saw that he had emailed me. So I was like, okay, he missed your girl. So I respond back to the emails. We just talking, saying what we saying, doing what we doing, and everything is good. I email him back. We email back and forth, because the phones, like I said, was a no-go. So by this point, we're communicating only through email, until he found out how to communicate by phone, okay? So we communicating back and forth just through email now. Now, two more months, I would say, passed, and then he ended up calling, and it was a weird number. It was just like a weird number, weird area code. It had like a 2 in front of it, the +2, and then the area code, and then the number. And it kept calling, and I didn't know who that was. And then I thought about it. I was like, oh, that's fine. And I checked my email, and he said, yeah, I've been trying to call you or whatever. I found out that I can call you. You just got to accept the phone call. So I started accepting the phone call. That's when I found out it was hot, but I didn't care. So I started accepting the phone call, and that's how we started talking by phone. So every day by email, things was good. We was communicating. Everything was good. When he would get off, or when he was about to go to work, or in the middle on a lunch break, I was getting an email. I was expecting the email, and I was getting it. When the phone time started coming, that's when stuff switched up. So one day I was talking to him on the phone, and I hear a whole bunch of laughter and hee hee ha ha in the background. And I was like, okay, so what you doing? So we used to go to this place called The Hunch. The Hunch is like basically out in Japan. It's like a little alley, and it got the bars and the pool tables and all that stuff. It's basically like a little back road with a whole bunch of stuff that you should not be doing on that strip. Okay, so he was like, oh, I'm in the Hunch or whatever. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, dang, I missed the Hunch, stuff like that. We was just chit-chatting. But like I said, I went back to the chit-chatter because I started hearing girls in the background. And I'm like, I was like, who you out there with? So he was like, oh, it's just me and my homie, such and such. I forgot his friend name, but we gonna name him Tay. So he was like, it's just me, Tay, and let's give the other one a name, Derek. So he found him some new friends, because his other friend, like I said, left. He went to another duty station. So now he got the friends Tay and Derek, okay? So that's who he would say he was out with. And the rest of the people that was in the background, like when I was hearing girls and stuff, he would say that, oh, those are just people around. Because in the Hunch, when you go inside of a bar, everybody's crunched up. Like, it's a small area. So it wasn't like no big old club. It was just like a small one way in, one way out type area, graffiti on the walls and stuff like that. And it had probably a pool table. And by the time everybody from the ship comes in, that ship held at least, I want to say 15,000 people. Majority of those people went to the Hunch because there was nowhere else really to go that we knew of. So all, but people would spread out. All them 15,000 people ain't gonna be just in the hunch, but you get what I'm saying. A lot of people went to the same areas. So I would be like, okay, that makes sense. You know, people be up on your back, people be up on your sides, like you literally had no room. So I'll let that slide, let that slide. Phone calls was good, and then time passes a little bit, and the phone calls started getting lower. Like, when I say lower, like, he wasn't calling me like that. And mind you, I had to wait for him to call me. I couldn't call him. So I'm waiting on him to call me, and he not calling. So a whole day went by one time and no phone call. So I went and checked my email, because at this point, once we started using the phone, we had really been done with the email like that. Like, we wasn't really emailing like that. So I forgot all about email until I didn't get no phone call that whole entire day. So I hopped right on my email, and I'm like, what are you doing? Where are you at? Where have you been? Why haven't you called? And like that, I waited for the email. I finally get an email back, and he like, oh yeah, I've been busy, this, that, and the third. Like, they had us working overtime and this, that, and the third and stuff like that. I'm like, okay. So, you know, mind you, at this point in time, I'm like 20 years old. I forgot to say that, but when this whole situation happened, I was like 19 or 20 years old. As a matter of fact, I was 20 because I had my son at 21. So I was 20 years old. So that's still kind of young. You know, you've grown a little bit, but you still young-minded a little bit, you know? So I'm like, okay, that's fine. I let that slide or whatever. And he started back calling. But the phone calls wasn't like 3-4 times a day this time. It was like once a day. And one time he called me, and I heard this girl in the background, and it was just the girl. It wasn't no like loud chit chatter like you in a loud place. It was just like one girl with you and nobody else around. So I'm like, who was that? And he was like, oh, that's Simone. Excuse me? I said, who was that? He said, oh, that's Simone. Like, no problem, right? Because really, how could it be a problem? Because, bitch, you all the way in the States. What you gonna do? What is you gonna do? What is you gonna do? So I'm trying to zip it, hold in my composure. And I'm like, Simone, what are you and Simone doing chilling by yourselves? Because I don't hear nobody else. And he was like, well, it's another dude out here talking about Derek, the other guy that he, you know, started hanging out with. He was like, he out here, and, you know, it's a couple other people out here. I was like, but I don't hear them. I don't hear them. Why do I just hear a girl's voice? So, you know, at this point, I don't know if he's telling the truth or if he's lying. I'm trying not to trip, because then if I trip, then he probably not going to call back. And he's not going to email me. And then I'm going to be sick, because I'm pregnant too, mind you. So, you know, we be real emotional when we're pregnant. So I was trying not to, it was just a lot going on through my head. Like, should I curse him out? But if I curse him out, then he ain't going to call me back. He ain't going to email me. Then I'm going to be sitting over here sick. I'm going to be sad, depressed. I'm going to start crying. My mama going to be like, get out, because she don't want to hear that. And so I'm like, okay. So I was just forced to just be like, all right, whatever. I'll accept that. He calls again. I hear this girl again. At this point, I didn't care no more, because I'm about to have this child, and I'm like, I don't even care no more. I don't even care no more. I talked to my mom about it. My mom explained, whoop-de-whoop, you know, y'all are long distance and stuff like that. Like, just let him do it, whatever he is, he gonna do, stuff like that, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what? Okay, whatever. So basically, we're done. But really, we wasn't, because I started getting back on my email, and anything I had to say, I was just emailing it, because he wasn't calling me back after the last time I got mad and I spazzed. It's like that same conversation. I just went off and stuff like that. And that's why I said I'm done, because I knew he was going to call or email me back probably. So I went through like 4, 5, 6 days of emailing, just talking mess. No email, no response. He knew this made me mad, because mind you, we had been talking for like a year by then. He knew everything that made me mad. Plus, I'm Aries. Like, you know, I'm waiting for a response. You know, I'm waiting for a response. So, no response. I'm still emailing. Every morning I wake up. If I see no response, it just fuels me. Fuels me to type more. So, I'm just cursing this man out, because now I feel like you think I'm slow. So, he didn't email me. Until I found out what was going on, until I got a phone call. So I'm sitting there, you know, by this point I hadn't already cried, been sad, you know, I'm thinking like, oh my God, I'm about to be a single mom. Like, what the hell? I ain't even do nothing wrong. This, that, and the third. I done went through that whole phase. I'm over it, whatever. I get a phone call from Simp. First, I get a DM through my Facebook from this girl that I used to be cool with. We gonna name her Tasha. So I get a DM from this girl named Tasha through my Facebook, and she's telling me like, oh, he been out with Simone. They been doing this, that, and the third. They been chilling. Nobody knows if they actually slept with each other or not, but they just saying the way that things are looking, it looks like they done started hooking up because now her man is going and now you're going. So they just whoop-de-whoop. I'm like, that makes sense because every time he calls me, I hear a girl voice in the background and it sort of do sound like Simone. But I was trying not to jump to conclusions, but he told me it was Simone and he just tried to make it seem like it wasn't that serious. So at this point, I know my girl Tasha ain't gonna lie to me. She ain't gonna lie to me. Like, this is the girl that I used to chill with whenever CJ was getting on my nerves, and then I would just go chill with Tasha and we would have a ball. Like, I would ditch all of them. All of them. CJ, Simp, Simone, dumped. I would go chill with Tasha and we would have a ball. So she ain't gonna lie to me. My girl ain't gonna lie to me. So I took that message very seriously. But like I said, by now I done cried and all that stuff. I'm at this point just wanting proof because I don't want to go out like I'm just tripping, you know, because that's how they're gonna make you feel like, oh, you just tripping, you was tripping, this and third, if you ain't never got no proof. So now I'm in investigator mode. So once I got that phone call, I ended up doing my little investigation and I ended up getting Simp's number or a message or something. I think I wrote him by message. I never got his number, like stateside number. So I wrote him through message on Facebook, same way Tasha contacted me. And I was like, I need you to call me because I've been hearing some stuff, this, that, and the third. So then my phone rings one day and it is Simp. So Simp is telling me that he heard the same thing. Now, mind you, he is crying. He said he is just like over it. He like, I can't believe this. Like, this is just crazy. Now, mind you, Simp and CJ were like supposed to be best friends. Like, I'm talking about, I think that he knew his mom and all of that stuff. Like I said, me and Simone wasn't tight like that, but we were still friends, I guess. So he just mad that his dude did him like that. And he also mad that his girl did him like that because, you know, he had planned on marrying her and stuff like that. So Simp is telling me that he found out that they have been talking about getting married. Like, they were, I don't know, I can't remember if he said she showed him the messages or what, but I have some messages in my Facebook from Simone from when I was cursing her out too, and she apologized and stuff like that. And she was like, I never meant to hurt you and this, that, and the third, but I just want to apologize and be the bigger woman and this and the third. Oh, so I'm not being a bigger woman because I'm cursing you out. Like, what am I supposed to do? Anyways, I think that's how he found out, is because she messaged him, or he ended up finding them. I don't remember how, but he ended up finding out that they was talking about getting married. He said it was in emails and all. So I don't have access to CJ's emails because he's all the way over there. I don't have access to his stuff because he's all the way over there. So the only thing I'm doing is playing it by ear. Why would Simp be lying to me when he already fiending over Simone? And why would Tasha be lying to me when she had no reason to lie? Like, she thought we was a cute couple and stuff like that. She liked black dudes. So it's not like she was trying to take him from me. So why would she be lying? So at this point, I'm like, okay, it's got to be true. It's true. Everything is true. So he ended up emailing me like maybe a week before I was supposed to have my son. I had done calmed down by then. My mom was like, next time that he emails you or talks to you, don't spaz because you're only making it worse. I'm like, yeah, you're right. But y'all already knew that because like I said earlier, if I spaz on this dude, he ain't gonna email me. He ain't gonna text me back because he just not gonna want to hear it. And that's the type of person he was. He don't like to argue. So, but the Aries in me just could not let it go. So I did. But when he called back and emailed this time, I didn't spaz. I was just cool about it. And I was like, you know, you can do whatever you want to do because we are on two separate sides of the earth. And at this point, it's really nothing that I can do. I can't put my hands on you. Since I can't put my hands on you, it's nothing that I can do. I can't put my hands on her. So since I can't put my hands on her, it's nothing that I can do. So I really have no choice but to get over it and be copacetic, at least for the sake of our child, right? So then the time comes and I call him because I'm go to use the bathroom and my water breaks. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm having this baby. Mind you, we are no longer a thing, okay? Because we just no longer a thing. And he had no problem with it. That lets me know that it was true. Okay? I called him, I told him that my water broke and stuff like that. And he's like, oh my God, this, that, and the third. So he ended up getting out and stuff like that. And he ended up coming to visit after I had a baby. He couldn't, of course, make it to the birth because he was still over there stationed. But when I was getting out, he had got orders to get out too, because we had talked about, you know, getting married and stuff like that. So he was processing out too, but he just didn't process out as soon as I did. So he was already in the process of getting out. So by the time I had my son, he came and my son was probably like a month or two old. So he ended up getting out. He ended up coming over to my mom's house because that's where I was still staying. And he ended up seeing his son, and I tried to talk to him about the situation, and he would just be like, didn't nothing happen. I was just chilling with her because I was already used to chilling with her and blah, blah, blah. You know, we all used to chill together and nothing ever happened. That was his story. He was sticking to it. He was not folding. So y'all probably like, well, how you know that he even cheated? This, that, and the third. First of all, the messages from the girl of her apologizing, she said it. She said, I apologize. I didn't mean to hurt you, this, that, and the third. That's how I know he cheated on me. He just was denying it because they're going to deny it until you provide proof. And he even going to still say that that's not proof. Not to this day, but then, back then, he would say that that wasn't proof. Child, he cheated on me. And I found out later, but you'll find out in the next story time how I found out that he cheated on me. So, yeah, you'll find out in the next story time, okay? You'll find out in the next story time, most definitely. So, that's how things went, finding out that my ex cheated on me with my friend or my acquaintance. Mainly, really, he cheated on me with his best friend's girlfriend, which is even more trifling. But to this day, we cool now. We don't have them qualms, you know, we don't have them problems. That was just some young people stuff, you know. It happens. So that was that. It's finito. And sometimes God allows stuff to happen because they're not the right person for you or whatever. You can't force stuff to be. So that happened. I ain't been ill about it ever since then. Once I had calmed down from the first time, child, I ain't never been hype about that situation ever again, ever. All I've been worried about is my child and making sure that we have a copacetic parenting relationship, which we do. But a lot of stuff happened before we got there, and that's where my story times is gonna come in. So yeah. But before I go, I'm gonna show y'all the nails. So these are the nails. These are the nails. I did create an Instagram page. It's like a nail inspiration page. Mainly just follow my nail inspiration page because I feel like I stand by my nails. I stand by my nails. If I ain't gonna post not another picture, I'm gonna post a picture of my nails. So yeah, that's just a little nail inspiration, you know, from me to you, in case you want to get fly. Hold on. In case you want to get fly. But yeah, so that's gonna conclude this story time. And the moral of this story time, because as I said before, a lot of my story times are personal and it's mainly to help somebody else. So I feel like the moral of this story time is don't trust nobody. Don't trust nobody. I thought that just because I was gone and I was talking to him on the phone all day, that he was still gonna be cool. And because the fact that I was pregnant, I just was like, he ain't gonna do no trifling stuff like that to me. And did. And I'm pretty sure her man was thinking the same thing. And she did. So we over here like two boo-boo fools, and they over here like two don't give a fucks. So that's the moral of the story. Don't trust nobody. You gotta feel people out and play it by ear, play it by sight. What you see is what you get. I didn't really see too much, but I heard a lot. And you gotta take that into consideration too sometimes, you know? But yeah, that's gonna end this story time. If you enjoyed it, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Also tap that notification bell and turn on all post notifications so that you can be alerted each time I post a new video. I do have another story time coming up about the time he stole my child. So you want to stay tuned for that story time. And yeah, I will see y'all in the next video. Love you. Peace.